Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
The Marcos administration replaces its top legal counsel and appoints a new police chief. What does this mean for the so-called bold reset?
The Senate reschedules the presentation of the impeachment articles against Vice President Sara Duterte.
Authorities observe improving road discipline as the number of NCAP violations drops.
The COMELEC is set to destroy unused official ballots from the recently concluded 2025 midterm elections.
First in the news, President Bongbong Marcos has kept in position several top officials who were instrumental in the ICC arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin once again made the announcement of the latest cut from the cabinet revamp under the Marcos administration. First to go in the second wave of reset, Solicitor General Menardo Guevara. He was replaced by Darlene Berberabe, who took her oath today before President Marcos. Berberabe is the Dean of the UP College of Law. Before this, she was Chief Executive Officer of Pag-ibig Fund under the administration of the late Noynoy Aquino.
Si Solgen Guevara has been there since the beginning, no? And maybe it is time for him to go to another venture. And so the President accepted his resignation to allow for fresh blood to come in.
Bersamin clarified that Guevara's departure from the Marcos cabinet had nothing to do with his recusal from cases challenging the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte by the International Criminal Court.
The President respected his ethical decision to recuse. Now, if there was a reservation about his professionalism at that time, the President could have already removed him. But the President continued to repose trust in him.
Another big announcement on Thursday, new PNP Chief, Major General Nicolas Torre. The CIDG chief who was a frontliner in the arrest of Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Apollo Kibuloy and former President Digong. Marcos's executive secretary cannot say if Torres' assent to the PNP was because of these events.
Wala akong may bigay na detalye dyan, ano? You know, the appointment of elements of the officers of the PNP, there has to be kept confidential. Okay? We should respect that confidentiality.
Meantime, President Marcos has also accepted the resignation of Commission on Higher Education Chair Prospero de Vera. He will be replaced by CHED Commissioner Dr. Shirley Agrupis, previous president of the Mariano Marcos State University in Ilocos Norte. Bersamin did not offer any explanation about de Vera's departure from the cabinet, only noting that he had already served in CHED for 2 terms. The ES was also pressed for answers on the fate of other cabinet executives. Bersamin confirmed that the president did not accept the courtesy resignations of Justice Secretary Boying and Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla, as well as Defense Secretary Gibo Teodoro.
Meanwhile, some officials have responded to the cabinet reshuffle. Former Solicitor General Menardo Guevara said he respects and fully understands the President's decision to accept his resignation. He also praised Berberabe as an excellent choice to replace him as Solicitor General. House Speaker Martin Romualdez expressed support for Berberabe's appointment, citing her legal expertise, leadership, and integrity. Romualdez also praised the appointment of Torre III as the new PNP chief, describing him as a no-nonsense leader committed to restoring discipline and trust within the police force. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla likewise welcomed Torre's appointment, saying it was based on the President's careful assessment. Meanwhile, former presidential spokesperson Attorney Edwin Lacerda believes that there has been no significant reshuffling in cabinet so far.
It seems like there has been no major changes except for a few. And the second time around, this announcement today posts no viable reason other than the most likely connection between the Duterte, the previous government, no?
Let's discuss these developments further with Professor Froilan Kalilung from the USC Department of Political Science. Prof, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much, and good morning. Good morning also to all our viewers today.
All right, Prof. So far, it's been a few days since President Marcos decided to have a revamp, a so-called revamp of the cabinet. So far, what are you seeing? Do you think there is a certain direction or a message that this revamp is conveying as of this point?
Well, I really don't want to call it more of a revamp. I think it's more of reshuffling because what we saw are basically a lot of changing of respective positions. From an optics perspective, I think initially I think this was good, primarily because at least the president was able to show or he wanted to actually flex some muscle here, and we would like to really exhibit some kind of leadership here, when he tried to do this. Unfortunately, it seems to me that some of the key government positions either were retained, or if not, they were just simply transferred to different offices, which I think is quite problematic for me because at this point in time, there might be some problem with regards continuity. There might be some problems also regarding the adjustment with their own respective leadership styles. So, but that's his prerogative. And what we're seeing here primarily is that those people whom allegedly did not favor the arrest of the former president, I think was removed, as in the case of the former Solicitor General, and those people who actually helped in the arrests were actually retained. And I think this gives a strong message, especially to many people, that the president's desire to actually change the dynamics and the composition of his cabinet actually points out to one thing, and this is of course in line with the arrest of the former president. So it's still politics, the way I see it, still politics. Aside from some changes, I think the meatier, more substantial side of this issue right now is still grounded on the political sphere.
Yun nga. So do you also see this, Prof, na revamp siya in a way that entails removing some of the Duterte allies?
Yes, actually, and I think it's very clear from what transpired, because if this was really intent to be more of a purging or cleansing from within, I think there should, since he already asked for a courtesy resignation, then I think it's best that he should have placed here people or men that he knew could actually deliver. Because if the past 3 years or so that these people were already in position and then there were no tangible outcomes, or there were really not much of a very good concrete policies or programs that emerged, it seems to me that there was really a leadership vacuum, so to speak. So in this case, since he already asked people to resign, he could have, utilized this prerogative and this situation to actually place or put in their position people of greater competence and expertise in this particular areas.
You know, Prof, when the president first announced that he was planning to revamp the entire cabinet, siyempre all of us had our own lists about which secretaries might be going, di ba? And all of us, a majority of us had Secretary Vince Dizon as a poster boy for what the president might be looking for. Ngayon, what departments did you think should have had a revamp or a replacement of a secretary based on performance if the president was sticking to that direction?
Well, I think the economic team actually, I think, could have utilized some kind of a different composition, especially the finance department, as we know it. There are several unpopular moves that are stemming from some of the initiatives coming from Secretary Ralph Recto. So, but we also understand, and I think I go by the wisdom of the president when he wanted to maintain some semblance of continuity with regards to the economic team. But of course, there are several other departments that I think could have have some changes like the DILG, for instance, or the Department of Justice. These are very, very important positions. But then again, it's so hard for the president probably to remove the Remulla brothers because of the political capital that these two actually added to him, especially during the elections of 2022.
Yes, oo.
Notwithstanding the fact that they were also very instrumental in the arrest of the former president.
Oo, and if they remove the Remulla brothers and they were instrumental in the arrest, parang it's a message na, teka lang, is the president softening about the arrest issue or naglalaglagan na ba? So I think you're right, no? It would have been bad optics to remove them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we try to retain them, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the appointment of the new PNP chief, General Major General Torre III. Ano? Some would say na kaya siya na-appoint kasi ito yung reward niya for arresting, of course, former President Rodrigo Duterte and also Kibuloy. And of course, yung PBBM allies would say no, based on merits naman yung ginawa. Your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, if we're going to look at his track record, I think he's already right to become the PNP chief. Maybe it so happened that he was there probably at the wrong place at the wrong time for the Duterte allies. But then again, he was the right man for the job insofar as President BBM is concerned. At any rate, of course, we know for a fact that the assignments and this granting of positions, particularly in the PNP, is actually based on several guidelines, and of course, merit and principle is also definitely being seen here by the president. Of course, we cannot discount the fact that he is being rewarded for being such a good and faithful ally to the president. And when you look at the bigger context, this is something that is already given because the president will normally assign people with whom he has his full faith, trust, and confidence.
That's right.
So I think that this is exactly what the president is doing. But then again, on the part of the supporters of the former president, this does not paint a good picture because it seems to them that what the president did was more of a reward for the services that he had done insofar as the arrest of Pastor Kibuloy and the former president is concerned.
Okay, let's move on over naman to agriculture, which is a very critical department and also something that's close to the heart of the president. Secretary, I think Laurel was brought in to address certain issues, and madami nagsasabi, well, as of this point, they haven't seen these issues resolved. What do you think about his performance?
Yes, actually, this is something that I also would like to point out because on paper, there's no doubt that he really carries a very good, a wealth of credentials, so to speak. But then again, it's different when you're already on the ground and you're doing or you're actually functioning in a very, very high level position that really demands proficiency, especially because the problem of our countrymen right now are actually in line with food security,
Yes.
in line with agrarian self-sufficiency. It's really difficult, and so the broad strokes that I think he tried to create, like for example, the creation of the 20 peso rice,
Yes,
of course, was more of an election. It's more of an election propaganda more than a sustainable program. And I agree with that. We have yet to see a very good or concrete manifestation of his expertise and his caliber insofar as the agriculture department is concerned. And I think the president might want to look into this. And when you look at the bigger picture, it's also one way. This reshuffling or this repositioning or purging, whatever you call it, is also a wake-up call to many of these cabinet secretaries to really shape up. If
Yes.
they really want to maintain and be retained, then they really need to come up with good policies. And I think I've mentioned this in many interviews already, that this government really does not have a flagship program, a
Right.
concrete policy that will create a long-lasting legacy
Yes.
insofar as the president is concerned. And I think this is what the president is trying to see right now. Probably in the 3 years that he will be in power, he really want to make a good, lasting impression. Because let's face it, the only program that his government has been doing so far is the providing of the ayudas, and definitely this is not sustainable. And yeah, many people are now against the idea, especially the middle income earners.
Well,
So having
one
said
lang
that,
before that. No, so I'm sorry. One last, and then I'll turn it over to Angel. You're talking about trademark. A lot expected him to really shake up immigration because a lot of immigration issues have been hounding us. You have Alice Guo who went through the back door. You had Harry Roque who went through the back door. And yet, when this revamp or reshuffle happened, not really a major shakeup in immigration.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if the president actually believes that the foreign policy or the manner by which we actually maintain our diplomatic ties with other countries actually is really important, because uh, at this point in time, I think the president is more concerned with the economic, those socio-economic imperatives, as well as on the political side of things. But of course, this is very, very important, especially when we look at the international image that we're trying to portray, especially in the international arena. I think this is also something of a great importance. And I really hope, no, that even if there is no mass resignation, I hope the president will still have the strength to muster the ability to actually remove people, even if not on an en masse level, or even not on a mass resignation basis, because it is within his power to really remove and to place people of competence, people that he has trust and confidence with, even if they don't do it on a mass resignation level. So I think I hope the president, even not now, but in the future, if he really will be able to really assess and evaluate things, and I think this is what the president has been trying to do. He's trying to project the image of a CEO president, evaluating
hello, Prof.
things, asking for deliverables, and eventually trying to see whether he will be retained or not.
But going back to what you said earlier, that sabi mo nga parang wala namang masyadong policy, this administration have concentrated or focused on ayudas or giving ayudas. But having said that, do you think the push for EDSA rebuilding is something that this administration is looking forward na maging legacy nila? Prof? I think we lost Prof.
Technical
Prof.
issues.
Moylan? Oo, wala na.
Andiyan
Prof,
pa.
can you hear us?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yan na.
Yes.
Nag-mute ka, okay. So did you hear my question po,
Actually,
Prof?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
okay,
I did.
go ahead.
Actually, even at the local level, if you really want to come up with an impression that you did something and that you were able to leave something, it's really with infrastructure, because these are hard projects that you actually see and that the
Right.
people will be able to utilize for a long period of time. So I think if this is going to be a move, and if this is going to be a serious thing that the president really would like to do, then by all means, I think this is a welcome development. Yes, of course, there will be problems, because rebuilding EDSA, the major one of our major thoroughfares in the country, especially in Manila, is really going to be problematic for many. But of course, if you look at the long-term benefits of it, I think years from now, people will look back and they will actually thank him for what he did, especially with this rebuilding of EDSA. So yeah, I think there's a program, BBM, the Build More, which is of course a spin-off of the Build. However, over the past years, I think they were not able to amplify very well the different infrastructure, what do you call this, create that are being created by this program. So
Yeah.
I think it's really high time that the president, focus more on the socioeconomic dimensions, particularly infrastructure, agricultural self-sufficiency, because I think for the past year or so, this administration has been too much involved in a lot of political noise. And I think the public actually wants more of governance and less of
Yeah.
politics at this point in time.
Let's talk about another a popular move, replacing former Soljan Guevara with Berberabe, now Soljan Berberabe. What do you make of this?
Well, I really have nothing against Attorney Darlene. She has shown in many years that she has been in government service that she is really efficient. She's very competent, actually, not just as a lawyer, but more as a manager.
Yes,
Yeah.
The way she handled the Pag-ibig Fund several years ago and several other key government positions, and even in the academe, I think she's a good replacement for the former Solicitor General. I think she brings in a lot of wealth in terms of experience, track record, and academic preparation to the table. And I think this is something that I believe is a very good move on the part of the president.
But some critics kasi would say, Prof, na yes, she's a good manager, pero meron ba siyang enough experience when it comes to litigation, which entails really the job of a Solgen. Yun yung isa sa mga sinasabi ng ibang mga kritiko. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe that she knows already how it is to work in the government. She has handled several key government positions already naman in the past. So I believe that there will be some adjustments, and I think adjustments will always be there, especially when you're handling a new position. But the important thing here is that do you really possess the number one, the preparation for it? Do you have enough expertise for the job? Do you have the right set of principles to actually create a good show of yourself when you're actually in the job? So I think these are the things that we also need to see. And if ever that she will be going through a period of adjustment, as with anybody else, I think it's going to be the usual thing as with the other leaders. The problem, though, is that remember that we're already in the third year, going into the fourth
Right.
year. And then as we enter the fourth year, the latter part of the fourth year, the president already enters the lame duck phase of his
Yes.
presidency. And so that's another thing. How are we going to muster enough strength to actually continue with all the programs, all the reforms, all the policies that will be placed, especially by the new incoming leaders? That's something that we need to see.
Well, taking this opportunity to ask you na rin, Prof, tungkol sa impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. A lot of saying na may mga rumors talaga circling around na hindi na talaga ito matutuloy, no? And kahapon, nagkaroon ng postponement on the side of the Senate, saying na meron po sila talagang dapat intindihin pa sa kanilang LEDAC before mag-adjourn ang 19th Congress. Your thoughts on that po?
Well, the postponement again created a more limited window for the 19th Congress to decide on this. Remember that if the 19th Congress were to decide on this, they will have to finish this at least before June 30, which is, I think, really impossible. Because if the 20th Congress will actually come in, again, based on Section 44 of the Senate rules on impeachment, it's going to be a new filing, because we cannot tackle agenda that have been set forth by the previous Congress, in this case the 19th Congress, right? So the 20th Congress will have to have a new take on the impeachment trial, and if they will be doing this, if they will be requesting a new impeachment complaint coming from the House, that will entail another technicality. There will be another technical blunder in this case, because you cannot file an impeachment complaint twice in a given year.
Yes.
So that's a problem. Now, if ever the impeachment will proceed, and I don't know how this will proceed, but in case they will proceed it, the administration will also need to face the problem of contending with the reality that we only need 9 people or 9 senator judges to acquit. And the way we see it, the way we actually have defined the lines, especially after the elections, it seems to me that there will be more than 9 people who will be voting against the impeachment of the vice president. So again, this will be another setback on the part of the administration. And this is the reason why I believe the president is telling us, consistently that he doesn't want the impeachment
Yes,
to take place, because probably the administration and the president already knew that there might be some problems that they will be having. But either way you look at it, if they will withdraw the impeachment, they will be perceived by the public as losers. If they will be pushing with the impeachment and the trial will proceed and the senator judges will decide on it and it will result in acquittal, they will also be depicted as losers. So it's really a lose-lose situation right now on the part of the government. Maybe that's the reason why they're trying to see what are the best possible options they have right now, which I believe there are very few actually at the moment.
All right, definitely there are a lot of things to discuss but we don't have much time. For the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, Professor Froilan Calilong from the UST Department of Political Science.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, former lawmaker Arnie Teves is now back in the Philippines after being deported from Timor-Leste. Here's the report.
Former Congressman Arnie Teves is now back in the Philippines after being deported from Timor-Leste. NBI Director Jaime Santiago, Justice Assistant Secretary Eliseo Cruz, and immigration officials were at Timor-Leste to facilitate the transfer of custody to the Philippines. Teves was in handcuffs and his feet were chained as he boarded the Philippine Air Force plane. The aircraft first stopped over at Davao for refueling, then headed to Manila before midnight on Thursday. The Timorese government earlier explained that they had Teves deported because his continued stay in their country as fugitive poses an internal security threat. They added that it is disrupting their bilateral relations with the Philippines, especially now that they have a responsibility to the region. This is in anticipation of Timor-Leste's ascension as ASEAN member in October. Despite this, DOJ assures due process will be accorded to Teves.
We assured the executive of Timor-Leste that we will do things as in observing all the tenets of due process and fair play. Unlike the victims who died here, there was no fair play when 13 people were murdered. Pinatay po yung 13 tao rito, kaya hindi ho ito basta-basta pinag-uusapan at hindi ho ito ginagawang kampihan. Ang mahalaga po, yung mga pamilya na nawalan po ng mga mahal sa buhay, magkaroon ng hustisya.
Meanwhile, Teves' camp insists his deportation is illegal, as they still have a petition for writ of habeas corpus. Their next course of action would be to prepare for the former congressman's trial in connection with the murder of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and 9 others in 2023.
Isang malaking kamote ang nangyari. Nag-issue po ng order ang Tribunal de Recursos ng Timor-Leste na sinasabing within 48 hours ay i-produce, iharap sa hukuman si Congressman Teves upang magpaliwanag ang mga authorities ng Timor-Leste, mga executive authorities, kung bakit siya ay inaresto. Ngunit ito ay magiging moot and academic. Ngayon pong siya ay ilalabas na ng Timor-Leste at ibabalik na po sa Pilipinas.
President Bongbong Marcos, for his part, thanked the President and Prime Minister of Timor-Leste.
As we know, the former Congressman Arnie Teves is facing charges of murder and other crimes related to the ambush killing of the former Governor Degamo. We would like also to assure all our citizens that such lawlessness will not go unpunished. And it is now time for Arnie Teves to face justice.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. The number of NCAP violations have dropped, reflecting improved discipline on the road. Here's the report.
This motorcycle had its plate covered with packaging tape. Another had a plate with a face mask. This rider, meanwhile, was caught in the act of covering his plate. All attempts to dodge the no-contact apprehension policy or NCAP. But the MMDA warns.
Meron na po akong utos sa ating nagbabantay sa CCTV na pag may na-flag po sila na nakita na tinakpan po yung plaka, aabangan po ng enforcers natin yan at uhulihin po.
The fine for covering a plate is 5,000 pesos. Despite this, many riders are anxious about NCAP. The result, surprisingly disciplined road behavior. No swerving. Riders are staying in lane.
Mas maganda sir na na tupad tayo sa sa batas trapiko talaga. Okay lang po naman yan na matupad natin yung natin NCAP.
According to the MMDA, NCAP violations dropped from over 1,000 on Monday to around 800 on Wednesday. But a new challenge looms. Traffic congestion due to EDSA rehabilitation starting in June. An odd-even scheme will be implemented with exemption for taxis, electric, and hybrid vehicles. This prompts calls for a work-from-home arrangement.
Feel ko mas mahihirapan akong mag-adjust sa time kasi ngayon nag-a-adjust na ako super aga ko nang gumigising. Tapos ngayon mas magiging traffic.
The Makati Business Club agrees that flexibility may be key.
We invested in offices for a reason, di ba? So we can all work together and be productive in the same space. Pero given this situation na isasara yung ibang lane ng EDSA and so on, I think we're kind of gonna be forced to look at this more seriously.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
Kasi may mga proposal nga na saying, yung mga kayang mag-work from home na lang, siguro mga twice a week, para daw mas maibsan yung traffic. So parang form of bayanihan na lang din daw since may EDSA rebuilding na magaganap.
Nabahala lang ako since yesterday, yung yesterday yung interview natin about yung economic implication.
Yesterday.
Economic implication of the rebuild kasi parang hindi na pag-uusapan to. And I think somebody raised the issue also. I remember hearing it sa radio of yung goods and services that are plying the routes. Kahit hindi sa EDSA dumadaan yan, sabi mo sa C5. Pero with the rebuild happening, lahat ng mga sasakyan, private sasakyan, cars will go, mag-reroute sila into the C5. When that happens, you're taking up space also ng mga delivery vehicles. So, maapektuhan yun.
Speaking of delivery, delivery riders, yun din na sinasabi na isa sa point ni Congressman Rog Gutierrez na they will be stuck in traffic. And it will be, yung livelihood nila will be affected as well.
Oo, kasi di ba may computation na sila of how much per day we lose because of traffic. And if we're gonna do this, ang timeline is supposedly 2 years.
Yeah.
So ano yung economic implication nito for 2 years if you're doubling the volume of traffic along EDSA?
On the other side of the fence naman, if you take a look at it, nakita nga natin sa mga videos, sa mga pictures online in our reports na nakita mo disiplinado, isang lane lang yung mga dapat nasa lane dito.
NCAP naman to.
Sa NCAP naman yun, di ba? Nakikita mo na disiplinado sila. So, in a way, parang mas maiwasan din yung mga road accidents because of this re-implementation of NCAP.
Sa ako, sana it's a hybrid NCAP like some countries. The pictures, yung parang AI, ang ginagawa ng ibang country is strictly limited to 2 facets. Yung if there's coding and number 2, speeding. Any other violation, ang police officer ang manghuhuli. Diba? Para mag-hybrid ka pa rin. Because there's certain circumstances sa road na, for example, nakat ka ng isang kotse, nasa blind spot ka, hindi nakita ng camera na nakat ka ng kotse. So, napaswerve ka out of line. Pero ikaw ang nakita ng camera na nahuli. So, of course, you'll be given a chance to explain. Ang problema, dumaan ka na sa hassle, na natikitan ka na,
may notice of violation ka
pa,
na.
magre-report ka pa sa kanila kung ano nangyari, di ba? So may mga inconvenience na ang nangyari. So yun ang mga things na sinasabi ng iba.
And one way to look at it also, kapag full na yung re-implementation nito, tas nagamay na, etc., that they will be adding more CCTV cameras with AI-generated system, mawawala na rin ng trabaho talaga yung mga
Yun.
traffic enforcers. Kasi, syempre, lilimitahan na nila yan, kukuntian na hanggang sa wala na because ano pang gagawin nila doon? May mga camera.
Parang ang sinabi ng MMDA, they will be limited to assistance kung may mga accidents, road assistance, and other services.
Yeah.
But they
Pero
will not
makukonti yan.
they will not be allowed to engage
kasi
in
no
traffic.
contact apprehension
No contact
policy
apprehension.
nga. But yun nga, no, pero the way that we are looking at it right now, ang nagiging sistema nila ngayon is yung, even if there is CCTV cameras with AI-generated system, meron pa ring human intervention. So we look at the MMDA headquarters, doon pa rin yung mga taga-MMDA, nakatingin, may mga sarili silang computer to check, yung may mga bago sila magbigay ng notice of violation.
Tsaka how trained are these analysts to really decipher yung situation? Because you have to have also yung human, yung sinasabi mo, they have to interpret kung bakit may nangyaring certain violations. Sometimes kasi may violations nangyayari, pero if you understand the outlying circumstances, uy, oo nga, pwede siya. O sige, papalusutin mo.
That's what they explained yesterday dun sa press con nila. Kasi, di ba, nagkaroon tayo ng report here saying na ayaw na tuloy umusod yung ibang mga tao kapag merong ambulance kasi baka mahuli sila sa CCTV camera na nag-swerve. Yung pala yung reason nila behind it or the context behind it na kaya sila nag-swerve to give way to the ambulance. So, sinasabi nga ng MMDA, according sa kanilang press con, kaya nga daw may human intervention pa rin through their CCTV camera sa kanilang
Pero if you see the video kasi nalalabas ng MMDA, you have one person looking at 20 screens at the same time. So, di ba, just how efficient is that? May mga nag-post nga sa Facebook na...
They can go back and review, I guess.
Yung may nag-post sa Facebook na napaswerve siya because may pothole na iniiwasan. Pero parang sa bandang... This was the unang NCAP, yung trial run, na sendan pa rin siya ng notice to explain. Parang, teka lang, umiiwas ako sa pothole para hindi ako ma-aksidente. Na-notice, hindi nakita ng...
That's why they can go back and review yung mga footages ng CCTV camera. But also yung exemptions, diba? Kasi maraming mga ngayon nagsasabi yung sa doctors, hindi na sila exempted, media is not exempted anymore also. Tapos ang pinupush also ng mga ibang lawmakers ay magkaroon ng exemption sa mga senior citizens. Yung mga elderly kasi may mga appointments yan
Tsaka
sila.
nahihirapan sila.
Yung mga yung challenges.
Mahihirapan
comes
sila
with
to
their
adjust yung current kung ano yung kasanayan nila. They have a routine.
Yes. So marami pa tayong pag-uusapan tungkol dyan. But meantime, the Senate has pushed back the presentation of the impeachment articles against Vice President Sara Duterte, rescheduling it from June 2 to June 11. The postponement is due to the Senate prioritizing the approval of important legislation and the confirmation of over 200 presidential appointees before the 19th Congress adjourns. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has forwarded Senator Chis Escudero's notification to its impeachment prosecution team. Despite the delay, the Senate is still expected to convene as an impeachment court by late July.
The Department of Foreign Affairs confirmed that former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque currently holds only one valid Philippine passport. Roque's current regular passport was issued in 2024 and will remain valid until July 2034. The agency emphasized that any previous passports issued under his name have been canceled following proper procedures. This clarification comes after Justice Secretary Boying Remulla claimed that Roque had 3 Philippine passports, an assertion Roque has denied. Roque, along with Cassandra Ong and others, is currently facing qualified and regular human trafficking charges related to alleged involvement with illegal POGO operations.
Yeah, I think what they saw daw yata is yung diplomat passport niya, which was already
Diplomatic
canceled.
passport niya?
Oo, meron kasi siyang
Diplomatic passport.
Diplomatic passport na na-cancel na daw. Yun yung pinapakita niya na may
So yan
butas
ang
na.
siguro
Yun
ibig sabihin ni Secretary.
Nasabi kay Secretary Boying Remulla, may ganito passport.
So hindi na nakita yung full context of it.
So ayun.
Basta sabi ni Attorney Panelo umuwi ka na. Diba? Lalaki sa lalaki, umuwi ka na, harapin mo yan. Di ba?
Well, tingnan natin kasi with the arrest of former Congressman Arnulfo Teves sa
nakikita mo ang direksyon ng government.
Yes. So they're really serious about
You
this.
also have si Alice Guo.
Yeah.
So we're really serious about yung mga supposed offenders out of the country. Hahabulin ka talaga nitong gobyerno. Alright, don't go away. We're not done yet. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. The Commission on Elections will destroy unused official ballots from the 2025 midterm polls starting today. For updates, we have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Merimon, of course, ano yung process ng disposal ng mga unused ballots? Of course, may mga concerns din ng mga actual, yung mga environmental agencies about this.
Totoo yan. At ang pinakagagawin dito sa destruction ng official pero unused na ballots at iba pang paraphernalia ay mano-mano daw itong pupunitin at posible din na gumamit ng shredder. So lengthwise daw siyang pupunitin, iipunin at sabay-sabay na dadalhin daw sa isang tunawan sa Pampanga. Nasabi rin sa atin kanina ni Commissioner Ray Bulay mula sa COMELEC Committee on Ballot Printing, isa rin daw na option talaga yung pagsunog nitong mga balota. Kumbaga ma-incinerate para siguro talaga na malinis na ito at wala na raw magagamit for novel use. Pero pinili nila ngayon para maging environment friendly ay pagkatapos itong punitin, tutunawin na lamang daw. Pero pagdating doon sa kung gagamitin pa ba ito, mare-recycle pa ba ito sa mga susunod na halalan, so far hindi pa raw nila alam yun. Pero ang siguro kasi dito, sa magiging service provider talaga, depende yung papel na gagamitin. At sa kanilang naitala, ang total ballots na naipenta for the 2025 national and local elections ay 68,542,564. Pero sa mga ito, kasama na rin yung iba pang mga paraphernalia o yung forms, 6,730,969 ang ide-dispose at ide-destruct sa loob ng isang buwan. Pero as much as possible, tuloy-tuloy naman na nilang gagawin ito para raw masiguro na hindi na ito magagamit sa iba pang mga paraan.
Mary mo, may alam ka ba kung anong material ang ginagamit dyan? Kasi may special way daw of disposing this material, itong specific ballot. Kaya I was wondering, is this just paper or may halo ito?
Actually, ang pinakagagawin dito ay parang pagpunit lamang ng papel. Ang pinaka-in-explain sa atin, mano-mano itong pupunitin. Actually, hindi pa natin nakikita yung demo kasi katatapos pa lamang ng press briefing kasama si Commissioner. Pero manual itong pupunitin. Nung tatanong natin, paano po ba kasi may nasasabi na shredder na ginagamit sa mga lumipas na destruction or disposal ng mga ito. Pwede daw gumamit sila noon para lang mas maging pino yung pag-shred sa mga ito para mas maganda raw yung pagkakatunaw. Pero so far, yung pa lang talaga yung detalye na meron tayo sa ngayon at babalik tayo agad para makita natin kung paano nga ba nila ito ide-destruct o pupunitin.
Marymon, for context lang para sa ating mga kapatid na nanonood sa atin, ano ba yung rason? Bakit medyo madami-dami, no? Ilan yung sinabi mo kanina? 68 million yung mga unused ballots natin. I understand some dahil hindi nagamit during the election, pero ano-ano pa yung mga dahilan?
68 million unused, dami.
68 million yung total ballots na imprinta, pero lagpas 6 million yung ide-destruct at ide-dispose nila.
Right.
Ang mga ito yung mga rejected by manual verification tsaka yung machine verification. So yung ilan sa mga nakita nila dito, misprinting, ibig sabihin walang imprenta sa likod ng balota, o kaya naman i-discolored siya. So yung imbis na makikita mo nga buo yung kulay nito, meron siyang fading. Pwede rin yung mali yung pagkakaputol sa mga balota, o kaya naman ay mayroong smudging dahil doon sa tinta. So yun yung mga naging factors o yung criteria nila para hindi na talaga ito gagamitin. At nililaw naman ng COMELEC nila Commissioner Abulay, wala raw silang magiging bayarin pagdating dito sa mga official pero unused na ballots. Kasi nakadepende na lang daw talaga ito doon sa service provider, doon nga sa kalidad ng kanilang inilabas na mga balota.
Kailan daw yung target nila na matapos itong disposal ng mga unused ballots?
Usually within 1 month siya. So ang timeline nila ngayon is from May 30 to June 30 matatapos nila ito. Pero syempre as much as possible, matapos na raw nila ito sa mas lalong madaling panahon. Pero in comparison kasi nung 2023 na barangay SK elections, halos 4 million lang, lagpas 3 million yung mga ide-destruct o dinispose na balota. Ngayon 6 million. So mas marami siya compared doon sa huling halalan 2023. Pero ang naging factor din kasi nila dito, nagkaroon ng reprinting dahil nga may machine errors din silang naobserbahan.
Marymon, may iba lang ako ng konti. The last time I think we spoke to you yung mga campaign materials na of course they were trying to dispose of. May update ka nga dito, Marymon?
So far, pagdating sa Quezon City at iba pang mga syudad dito sa Kamaynilaan at sa bansa, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung kanilang disposal. At hindi rin kasi agaran na makakabuo agad. Yung sasabi natin mga tote bags, mga eco bags, dahil mano-mano rin siyang ginagawa kasama ng ating mga kapatid na PDL, plus yung NGOs na in partnership nga ng QC-LGU para sa mga ito. So far, nakikita natin, nagpo-post na rin itong mga NGOs ng kanilang natatapos ng mga produkto mula doon sa mga tarpaulin. So we're hoping na sa mga susunod pang linggo, maubos talaga nila itong mga nalikom o mga tinanggal na campaign para Fernalia.
Alright, maraming salamat. That was our mobile journalist, Marymon Reyes.
Now, the viral photo of a woman emerging from a drainage canal reveals the realities of street dwellers in Metro Manila. Here's our report.
The internet went abuzz over this photo of Teresa, eerily emerging from a drainage canal in Makati. She was immediately located by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, which offered her assistance. It was found that Teresa works as a scavenger. She said she was walking around that day when suddenly...
Nahulugan po kasi ako ng cutter blade na pinipilit ko po siyang kunin eh. Kinuha ko yung cutter, tumayo ko at pag angat ko ng ulo ko, doon ko nakita maraming tao na nakatingin sa akin. Tapos biglang nagulat ako, ang dami na may nagpicture daw pala sa akin.
Teresa uses the cutter to remove labels from plastic bottles. She also denied claims that she lives in the drainage canal.
First time ko lang po doon bumaba eh. Kasi Araw-araw po ako dumadaan. Hindi ako nakatira sa isang imburnal. Ako po ay may isang bahay.
However, during the press conference, Teresa mentioned a drainage area near Makati Medical Center that they used to frequent for sleeping and bathing. She said 4 of her friends still stay there.
Doon ako sumiihi, doon ako naliligo minsan. Pag nandun lang kami sa Pasintamo.
The DSWD was alarmed by the revelations.
On foot, umaakyat yung mga social worker namin sa overpass at sa underpass. Ngayon, titignan na rin namin itong mga drainage system na maaring pinagbabahayan.
According to DSWD data, more than 10,000 individuals are homeless in Metro Manila. Nearly half have already been reached and assisted by the agency.
All right, looking for a new hobby without breaking the bank. In Taytay, there's a place where fun, relaxation, and even exercise come at no cost. Para bigyan ng mukha ang balita, Mobile Journal, Jazz Paredes.
Naghahanap ka ba ng bagong hobby o libangan pero nag-aalala sa budget? Worry no more dahil dito sa Taytay Recreation Center, hindi ka lang basta makakatambay. Pwede pang ma-enjoy lahat ng kanilang amenities ng libre.
Sa third floor ng Taytay Public Market, akalain mo ba na mayroon ditong bowling center? Isa yan sa mga activities dito sa kanilang recreation center.
Pagpasok dito sa Taytay Recreation Center, ang unang bubungad sa iyo ay 60 na bowling lanes. Dito naman ay meron tayong 4 na dartboards. Meron tayo din ditong 3 billiard tables at ito rin meron din tayong mga lamesa at upuan para ito sa mga gusto lamang tumambay at mag-relax.
Ang best part, lahat yan libre.
Yung recreation center natin ay mabigyan ng magandang experience yung mga kababayan nating Taytayenyo na magkaroon naman sila ng facility na makakapag-cater ng kasiyahan, pati pampalipas oras para lalo na sa ating mga senior citizens.
Lahat welcome dito. Kahit di taga-Taytay. Pwede rin ng kids 7 years old pataas basta may guardian. Ang favorite ng karamihan ay ang kanilang duckpin bowling.
Dati na kasi kung naglalaro ng bowling, para pinaka-exercise na rin.
Kasi naglaro na kami nakaraan sa lahat ng open ito. Nag-enjoy naman kami kasi bago yung aming bowlingan sa Taytay.
Hindi lang saya, may hatid pang iba ang Taytay Recreation Center.
Upang ang mga tao rito at mga kalugar natin dito ay magkaroon ng bonding at pagkakaisa. At napakaganda nito ay exercise at naiiwas tayo sa mga barkada.
Para magkaroon tayo ng at least peace of mind, meron tayong lugar sa Taytay na safe space natin.
Siyempre, grab the chance. Sinubukan na rin nating maglaro, baka may hidden talent pala tayo sa sports. Gusto mo mag-unwind? Walk-in ka lang o mag-message sa kanilang Facebook page for online booking. Bukas sila araw-araw mula 10 a.m. hanggang 10 p.m. Mobile Journal, Jazz Paredes po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Tayatay.
Oo,
Tayatay Rizal yan.
Oy, thank
Hoy,
you,
hindi,
Kuya.
Friday ngayon. Bakit?
Of course.
What happened to the Friday?
Of course, Buddha's Belly.
Si
Day.
Marjorie Tan.
Thank you.
Of course, yung favorite natin, I think that's hakaw. You have crispy, spicy spare ribs and pancit canton. Di ba? Favorite mo yung mga pancit.
Yes.
Alright, happy weekend sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining us for this whole week. Madaming natalakay natin. And before we let you go, I'd like to leave everyone with a quote. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. A quote from Anne Lamott. And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Mag-unplug muna tayo kasi join us again on Monday. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.
Okay.